Oh!
He's a boss!
Get out of my game, kid. Get out of my game, kid, bro. Go play Roblox.
Go play Roblox.
Hey YouTube, Pastor Bacon here with episode 7 of Timmy Talk. Timmy Talk, of course, is a series that is dedicated to helping those that are new to the game of Dark and Darker experience greater success in the dungeons. I know this episode is long overdue, and I appreciate your guys' patience with me. Life's just been a little bit crazy right now with work and family and everything else that's just been going on, so I appreciate you guys hanging out and waiting on me. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about spellcasting. Of course, later in the video, you're going to see actual live gameplay and me giving my thoughts on why I made decisions and things like that. But just for right now, just to give you something to kind of, I guess, study, maybe, I want to just kind of give you some visual helps and how, kind of in my mind, how I see how I should be spacing. Because what this will allow you to do is to basically remember where you need to kind of be spaced at, even in situations where you're not currently in danger, but that'll prevent you from entering chances where you're now more so in danger. And so let's say for this example, you're in the dungeon, right? And you are on a spellcaster, right? Well, just for the example, we'll just say wizard. We have to remember that there's multiple different aspects and different matchups in this game. So not every single point here is going to match up with every single matchup, but and then I'll try to help with that a little bit down the line. But in general, you pretty much don't want anybody within about 3 feet of you. If you're anyone who's in 3 feet of you, right, the red zone, by far, this is danger zone. You need to basically get out of dodge. All right. Whether that is popping invis, which I tend to do on wizard a lot. You pop invis, you go invisible, you try to juke somebody, and you reposition yourself where they are now outside of your bubble, right? And we could even call the red zone that. It's your own personal bubble, right? Like let's stay 6 feet apart. Okay. And so think of that as like the red zone. This is basically the only priority you have is repositioning at this point, because they are too close to you, especially anyone who's within melee range of you. And so you don't want anybody in your bubble. Okay. So then obviously then you have kind of just your cautious area, right? This is an area where your main focus actually is split between dealing damage and spacing, right? Backing away, moving away from the target so that you don't get into the red zone. All right, or so that they don't get into where you're in a danger threat of being meleeed. And so think of it as splitting the 100% focus that you would have with the red zone of only running away. You're not casting spells, you're not dealing damage, right? The yellow zone, if they're not in the red zone, is to specifically focus on both. You actually split everything 50-50. By that I mean basically you are preventing them from getting too close to you where they are in your red zone or too close to you to be able to hit you with melee, but you are also focusing on making sure that you're doing damage. You're splitting basically your focus 50-50 of where you are, where they are, but then also making sure that you're dealing damage to them. Then you also have the green zone. As you may have guessed, we had one already that's 100% focused, then you have the split when they're in the middle. Well, this is also another 100% focus area. But this is all DPS, okay? 100% focus on DPS. When they're in this range, the green range is basically your preferred area to fight, right? Where they're in you have them in an opportune distance from you that you can fully focus on dealing damage. That doesn't necessarily mean that you stop moving. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. However, if they're in the green zone, then there's no necessarily need to get much closer or to back farther away. So here's an actual visual kind of representation of what I'm talking about in the game, right? So here's just a screenshot that I pulled up in the game, and I just wanted to explain these things. So I was trying to think of a clear path or what, like not much going on. So I thought of this little area that's in the ruins. You have the red zone, right? That's a few feet out, from you, like 4 to 6 feet. You don't want anybody closer than that. So say like a barbarian with like a warmaul, like if they were in your red zone, they'd be able to hit you with a warmaul. So, and then you also have, of course, the yellow zone, right? And this is pretty much this whole like little bridge area. This yellow area is like if you were, you know, obviously I don't have placed a kite right here, but this is kind of in general, like I said, where you want to be always focused 50-50 of I'm backing away or moving away from the target, and I'm making sure that I'm not getting too close where they're getting to the red zone, but I'm also focused on dealing damage. This is a safe place to deal damage at this time. Now, this would be like the green zone, and you see how it doesn't extend extremely far, right? The door that you see in the far back, that's outside of your actual green zone. That doesn't mean that you can't cast spells. Say if a guy was opening or running away and it was on that door, you can certainly cast like Ice Bolt or Fireball. All I'm saying is that that is not the optimal damage zone that you want to be basically taking your fights. And so moving closer to, say, the door or whatever. Anyway, if you go and test this in game, you actually find out that your zap, your explosion, your lightning strikes, and pretty much all your spells can hit this green range very, very quickly, or you are able to reach it with, like I said, zap or lightning strike or anything like that. So there is also specific circumstances. So maybe you're fighting against, say, like a fighter, and you'll see that that maybe this changes where a fighter, you'll see that there's an overlap of the yellow zone facing, say, the fighters is fighting you, right? And maybe on this side you kind of have to expand your areas and your zones because of what they potentially have in their arsenal. And I think that's what gets a lot of people that I want to talk about, is that I've seen rangers do this, I've seen spellcasters do this, where they close the gap too close to these players because they kind of get an assessment of their movement speed, only for, say, a fighter or a barbarian to hit rage, to hit sprint, and they realize, oh no, I got too close to them. And because of this next few seconds where their move speed is high, you can't get away, and it's all they needed to be actually get on you. You got to be careful. You have to be really careful. And so, and that's why I kind of have the zone stretched far to the right, as you can see on your screen. Because if you have a fighter on that side of you and you don't know if he's pop sprint, give yourself a little bit more room to breathe and don't close the gap and get yourself in trouble, basically. Keep that spell, that distance out. This also changes, though, even more when you consider fighting against other range classes. Now, it says ranger on the screen, but honestly, just all range in general. I don't think there is a danger zone. Well, there is a danger zone. It's everywhere. Because rangers have infinite range. They have all range. Close range, medium range, and long range is the ranger's specialty. And so your focus as a spellcaster in terms of spacing is either you're not engaged with them at all, making sure that you're in the sense of that you're not visual, like you cannot be seen by them, so completely hiding behind cover and you're not doing anything, right? Or you're closing the gap on them as close as you possibly can to get them in your priority range. Close the gap on classes like rangers that have low magic resistance and are focused on range to kind of put pressure on them. But then with fighters and barbarians, give yourself ample space. In fact, give yourself an extra 3 to 4 feet of a buffer, so that if they pop sprint or if they pop rage and they pop that move speed, you have enough time to react accordingly and to either make it behind a door, close the door on them so that it kind of wastes their buff, or you can use like invis or something else to basically kind of negate their chance to kind of get on you. Here's a few examples of this actually in specific fights. So you're actually going to see I'm in under 24 lobbies. Everyone's actually really chill here. But I asked people to fight, so we did. So you're going to see I open up with like a zap. I'm fighting a Sork here. And I go for invis here, but look how far I'm kind of staying. I'm not like running up to him. I'm not trying to get underneath him directly. I'm staying about like 8 feet or so. My invis, of course, gets messed up by his lightning here, and so I try to see if I can knock him off by fireball. That's not working, so I actually prioritize zaps here. And as zaps are working really good, I actually managed to get him to get down, which was great. And so he's running, and so now I'm kind of putting the W key on. I'm moving towards him, but I didn't just get real close. We're still about the same distance apart. And of course, you're going to see in just a second here, I hit him with an ice bolt, and that takes him out. So, you know, I keep about the same position from him the whole time. And obviously, W Bard over here just absolutely roasting the guy. And so we fight as well. And so he pulls a bow out. So I'm trying to actually get a good position here, use whatever cover I have. But I also realized like I need to kind of push closer to him. And so you see how he was kind of on the run there. But as soon as he does the flute spell, obviously don't have audio again with these replays. But when you hear that Shriek of Weakness, that's kind of a go-to. Also, I have Shriek on me as well, so I have to be a little more cautious. He wants the melee now. So now I'm see how I'm going to kind of see, this is like the yellow phase, if you will. I'm still focused on doing damage to him, but see, this was actually an error. This is too close. He's now entered my bubble, if you will. And so now I'm only going to be running away. Right there, you actually saw, let me reverse that. You'll see that I'm actually running here, but I do a jump and then put my spellbook away at the same time. So whatever your keybind is to put your weapon away, make sure you know it. Make sure it's a button that you can hit somewhat easy while also hitting spacebar. Mine's actually bound to my mouse in addition to my keyboard. And so I'm still running here. Obviously you don't hear the audio, but I know he's right behind me. He pulls a bow out on me actually. And so I'm dodging. I'm trying to get, you know, space in between me. Again, closing a door, using that to get some additional space. And we're unable to finish this fight actually, because you're going to see in just a second here, we get third partied by a warlock who just wants to fight. So I just tell him to basically just go ahead and finish the guy. And unfortunately, he ends up dying. So I actually hear the warlock here. Of course, as you see here, I'm backpedaling. I'm giving myself more space. Remember we talked about like certain classes, you want to allow yourself more space because that yellow zone kind of increases sometimes. Well, I've noticed in the past that these demon lock builds, a lot of times they're pretty fast. They're actually really fast. You'd be surprised. I know warlock got nerfed, so it's not +5 all the time, but you'll see that's why I backed up so far. I kind of started to lean towards the doorway. Another little fun tip for wizards: lightning strikes are wonderful for door play. If you're playing on a door like this, you can see like even right there, I caught him perfectly. Now here's a great example of these ideas in practice. So I'm actually fighting here a wizard. We get pulled up on a ranger. Remember what I said about the zoning with the different types of classes, with like a ranged versus a melee? You know, this is really far where I'm currently at right now. I mean, I don't know how many feet that is, but dude's small on my screen. Okay. And so I am the entire time, let me just let it play for a little bit without pausing. This whole time I'm trying to gain ground to get into that like sweet spots. You see now we're kind of at the same distance almost to where me and that Sork fought earlier. There's like just a sweet spot of distance that you want to be from anybody. Now you of course don't want to get like super close to rangers, because then they have the option to like backstep and pull out their spear and then try to hit you with spear. So I'm still treating the ranger kind of like a melee class, you know, because ranger's been, I mean, and also if he has like a shotgun, if he has shotgun perk equipped, then I can get decimated that way. But you'll notice I try to keep this same range the entire fight. You know, I can at any point in time like back away, get closer, but I'm just trying to pressure him as much as possible. I'm also using the mobs to my advantage too. He has mummies on him. But see that range of that zap? It's like, dude, it's great. That's perfect stuff right there. One thing I'm doing here is I'm backing up here, mainly because I'm trying to wait his ignite. I don't know if you know this, but ignite has been super nerfed. And so I'm actually waiting for his ignite to go away, and then I feel a little bit more confident about having his being able to fight this guy. You see that his ignite's already gone. So I start casting on him. Still, look, about the same range that ranger was. And he's now running, and so now I'm pushing towards him. He turns, I immediately start backing up. See? We're keeping the range the whole time. That like, almost like 7 to 8 feet away. I'm too close here. I'm way too close here, by the way. However, you just saw me stuck him with multiple explosions. And I actually decide, like, I've done enough damage to him. I'm just going to go for it, and he's dead. He did stab me once. He did huge damage, by the way. He repopped his buffs, but you see how kind of we're keeping that distance from the player. So here is another matchup with a class that just tends to give at least me a lot of problems. Maybe you as a spellcaster can agree or disagree. This is a shirtless barbarian, so he's quite fast. Although, thankfully, he's not wearing like loose trousers and light foot boots, because then he would be even faster. But he does also have Achilles strike, so he's just constantly going to be on me. You see, we hit him with an explosion there. We're just trying to kite away from him using our invisibilities, but I'm doing a lot of running here, and kind of lost him for a little bit. I think I kind of juke him here, so he's a little bit distracted. But we have basically aggroed the entire mob area here, so he's coming back. I'm actually moving a little bit closer to him. That's just because I want to get some damage on him. Also, he's already popped rage. You can't hear that in the because the audio is muted, but he had already used his rage. And so I back up a little bit. I'm getting some maybe haste, because I'm hoping that I can use that to help me a little bit. He has rage popped again, so I'm just on the run at this point. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm trying to catch him with a lightning strike to slow him down, because I kind of have gotten a feel for his move speed now, and I realize that he's only going to be running with his torch out, because again, he just wants the Achilles strike. He's just hungry for Achilles strike hit. He's now taken explosion and ice bolt, has not healed, and then he gets directed with fireball. And of course, after this, he just leaves, doesn't come to fight me anymore. And I go hunting him down later on, but I cannot find him. And I hear someone in here clearing a mob, and I thought it was him, but it actually is a warlock. And so I kind of just let the warlock know, I'm like, hey, I'm here, I want to fight. And so we start fighting, and I use Invis a lot, because it lets me, if they're playing on a corner, it makes it harder for them to just stab me, come around the corner, and I just want to see what's behind it. But he, of course, he pops his demon form, and so we are backpedaling while casting spells. I'm jumping and then casting another one. He's too close, so I'm going to run a little bit longer this time. See, and then I turn around. He's now casting, so I got this doorway here to use lightning strike again. Catch him with that lightning strike. I don't hit him with that one, and he actually ends up dying to his own bolt of darkness, and not my lightning strike. But once again, I am running away. I thought this was the warlock, by the way, that killed the bard earlier, so I was trying to get some justice for him. But it turns out it was actually a different warlock as well. And that's all the clips I have, just to give you a couple of examples of how you can be spacing appropriately on spellcasters. You'll notice on pretty much all my videos, at least if I'm playing like I should, I try to keep that almost 7-8 feet distance with most characters, except for buffed up, if a fighter's running at me with haste and viz. I'm not trying to just lay down fire in that situation. I'm trying to kind of wait out those buffs to kind of wear out for the most part. Other than that, I don't have anything else for you. I do again apologize that this video is taking so long to make. It's just been kind of a mental block for myself recently, but I think we're getting back over the hump a little bit. Hopefully videos will come out a little bit quicker on the dark and darker side. We've also been live streaming multicast both onto Twitch and to YouTube, so come stop by and check us out. Typically I'm free more so on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays at the current time, and so more than likely one of those days every week I'll be going live. In addition to that, I've said every video, feel free to join our Discords, either Dark and Darker Fan Club or the official Sola Discord. Both, of course, are linked as always in the description below. Also, we got a little bit of merch coming down the line, and so if you're interested in that, don't feel obligated, but that's also down below if you just scroll for a little bit. I want to thank you guys so much for 600 subscribers. It feels like we've been doing this for not even a couple weeks, and yet here we are already at 600 subscribers. So again, I appreciate you guys, all the support on the channel, and I try to continuously make better content, while also not being a complete perfectionist at the same time, because that limits how often you guys receive videos, because I just sometimes feel the need to just blow up everything that I've worked on and start from scratch because it's somehow not good enough. So I'll continue to work on my own personal problems so that you guys continue to get good content, but more frequent as well. Also, episode 8 has not been decided for what we're going to be talking about for Timmy Talk. I've actually received quite a few ideas, but continue to leave ideas for me in the comment section below of things that you may be struggling with, or just maybe ideas you may have. You guys have actually opened up a lot of cool ideas for me. I have a pretty good list going already, but just continue to let me know so that I can keep building that list of what you guys would like to see. And until then, maybe I'll run into you in the dungeons. That's all I got for you. So I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.